1. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's your boy Diego DJ here, reporting live with Mr. Chris Jones for episode 101. That's correct. Episode 101, starting season 2, effective immediately. If you're not following us on Twitter just yet, make sure that you're following us on Twitter at Podcast Card. Make sure that you follow us and stay tuned with all the updates that we're providing to you every single day, whether it's World Cup, whether it's transfers, whether it's Premier League, whatever it is, we're reporting it live at the moment as it happens. Jones, how you doing, sir? It's been about a week or so since we recorded episode 100?
Dude, sorry, I'm looking at my fucking egg-shaped head. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, that angle. Oh, dude, look, I'm bald.
Man, I'll eventually get there.
Don't
Eventually,
like
I'm saying.
Don't like it.
I'm saying eventually because at this pace, like, I'm getting a haircut every 2 weeks. This is ridiculous. This grows every 2 weeks, like the same length of yours right now. Yours probably takes 5 weeks. Mine takes 2. It's ridiculous. But anyways, quick shout out real quick to our 2 hosts for episode 100. Sam, thank you so much. Just great to have her. We'll hope to see her more often on the show. And our boy, Mr. Fasciano. It was awesome to have him back on for episode 100. So shout out to the 2 of them. Definitely missing them already for episode.
Went on strike last week because Fasciano wasn't coming back.
I think all of us went on strike, to be honest with you.
I refuse to record.
But anyways, so kicking off episode 101, we got a couple breaking news. Number 1, Unai Emery being named the new head coach for Aston Villa. Immediately afterwards, as Steven Gerrard was sacked over the weekend due to a loss against Fulham. The season has not been going well for Steven Gerrard. What are some quick thoughts that we have on the appointment?
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked off air about this appointment earlier today, but I think tactical-wise, I think this is a great move for Aston Villa. I'm hoping that they can grab a couple more pieces for Unai Emery because I think they have the potential to be a really good team. They just need a piece or two, but I think Unai Emery is going to make this team very much so in contention to for the middle of the pack this year, but potentially make a run at the top 6 for years to come.
Well, I'll give it to Unai Emery. I think he's a great coach, a well-appointed coach for this team. Definitely somebody with experience, definitely somebody who has won titles and has gotten plenty of tactical opportunities to go through. I don't know if top 6 is definitely a plan for them this year. I think being in the top 10 is definitely a plan this year for them.
Sorry, I should have rephrased. Fighting for the top 6 for years to come. So not this year, but like next year.
He got a great deal. It looks like it's 5 seasons, 7 million, something like that. So he got a great opportunity or so there at Aston Villa. He's coming in at a perfect time as the January transfer window will start to kick in eventually right after the World Cup. So it gives him time to mold the plan, time to get to know this team and try to get some strategies going. In my opinion, I think Steven Gerrard was just probably outsmarted by the rest of the Premier League at this point. I think he's gotten the experience that he needed here in the Premier League. But if he was to come back to the Premier League, he will need a little bit more experience in under other leagues. You know, he did a great job with the Scottish League with Rangers. He did a great job with them. I would say maybe the next potential league for him would be something like France, something like Portugal, anything like that. Anything where he can work with a small team enough to be able to mold them and develop his own strategies of his own that will develop a deeper name for him. Because at this point with Aston Villa, he's a connoisseur of the Premier League and whatnot, but he was a connoisseur of the Premier League in years where the Premier League was still working to get to the level where they are now. So he didn't have the tactics that he needed to develop at the time. But wishing nothing but good luck to Steven Gerrard. Behaved himself like a gentleman with the club. He didn't create any controversies or issues. So wishing Gerrard best of luck and hoping that he lands a job rather quickly. Replacing Unai Emery at Villarreal, it looks like Quique Setien, the previous Barca coach prior to Ronald Koeman being appointed as coach for Barcelona. Looks like he will be the person appointed for Villarreal. So more details to come on that. We'll probably find out in the next 24 hours. If we do, make sure that, like I said earlier, you're following Podcast Card on Twitter. That's our Twitter handle. Make sure that you're following us there. Villarreal fans will know in the next 24 hours or so. Moving on, we got Champions League action moving in tomorrow and Wednesday. We got Europa League action happening on Thursday. We got the Premier League happening on this weekend. We won't have Premier League action until another weekend or so, and then we'll probably be headed off to the World Cup after that, which it's crazy to think that the World Cup is here in about less than 3 weeks or so. Let's talk Champions League for a hot minute real quick here. We got some predictions to do, as this is a pivotal schedule for the Champions League. We'll know who moves into the round of 16, what that round of 16 will look like, and whatnot. So let's start it off. We got RB Salzburg taking on Chelsea. What are your predictions there, Jones?
I think that this is RB Salzburg and Chelsea. I think this is going to be a close game. I think realistically Chelsea is going to struggle against this Salzburg defense, and I think realistically they're going to come out with a squeak out win. I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea.
I agree with you. I think this is going to be a very close game. It is a Salzburg, and Salzburg is very good defending their home stadium. So while in mind I did have a 1-0 victory potentially for Chelsea, I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw in this instance. I don't think Chelsea gets it done, but I don't think Salzburg also gets it done either. Let's move on. We got Sevilla taking on Copenhagen. Copenhagen, bottom of the table for this group. Sevilla will need a win in order to be able to compete somehow and hope that the next person up loses or ties in order for Sevilla to move on to the round of 16. I got a 3-1 prediction here for Sevilla. What do you got?
That's Sevilla, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to go 2-0 Sevilla.
All right. We like it. Moving on, we got PSG taking on Maccabi Haifa. It is at PSG. It is at Parc des Princes. I'm going with PSG 2-0.
I'm going to go PSG 3.
3-0. All right. All right. Now we got another battle for the ages. Round 2 of this battle. It is homeboy Erling Haaland coming back to Dortmund to face his previous team. It is at Dortmund. Last time that these two fought against each other was a very good game. We saw a lot of Jude Bellingham, which raised a lot of alert there for people to start triggering interest on him. We know that he's interested in the Real Madrid job. He could potentially move to Manchester City as well. I'm going with a 2-1 score here for Dortmund. I think City gets a rude awakening, but I don't think it's much of a major one. I do think Dortmund will get it done at home. What do you think?
I think I'm going to lean in a draw here. I'm going to go 1-1 draw. I think City's going to do enough to get the point. Dortmund, I feel, is going to be on the attack most of the game, but City is going to be hammer focus defensively. I don't think they give up more than a goal. I'll go 1-1 draw.
All right. Next up, we got Dynamo Zagreb versus AC Milan. AC Milan in desperate need to win. Dynamo Zagreb still in the competition as well. So if this game goes either way, either one of those two gets an opportunity to be in second place if second place loses, which I believe in that group, if I'm not mistaken, I will have to look this up. I believe in that group, the difference is only 3 points. What are your thoughts for this game?
I like Dynamo Zagreb at home in an upset here. I'm going to go Dynamo 2-1.
All right, we like it. So actually, the difference between bottom and first floor is only bottom and first place is only 3 points, with Chelsea leading the charge here. RB Salzburg right behind them, but AC Milan and Zagreb tied at 4 points. What is your prediction again, Jones?
2-1 Zagreb.
2-1 Zagreb. I'm gonna go the opposite way, the same scoreboard though. I'm going 2-1 Milan. Let's move on. We got Benfica taking on Juventus. Juventus only 3 points and then in third place, right in front of Maccabi Haifa. Really not a lot differentiating the two. Meanwhile, Benfica and PSG, however, tied up for first place at 8 points. What do we see happening here? It is at Benfica, unfortunately, for Juventus.
So that Juventus, I'd give them a fighting chance. However, they're being at Benfica. I'm gonna go Benfica 2-0. They can't play well against these Portuguese teams for whatever reason.
And it begins. I also got 2-0 Benfica. I agree with you. Same exact theory. I got Benfica winning this one.
As a Juventus fan, I've watched for years. They can't beat these Portuguese teams.
No,
Porto,
no,
Benfica, they just can't do it.
not even with the greatest of all time player there in their lineup. They just couldn't do it. Let's move on. We got Celtic taking on Shakhtar Donetsk. Celtic sitting in last place, unfortunately, with 1 point on this table. They could walk away out of the Champions League trying to create some damage as Shakhtar Donetsk hopes to cling onto the second spot as RB Leipzig is only in front of them by 1 point. Leipzig sitting at 6 points, second place. Donetsk is sitting at third with 5 points. It is a Celtic. Where do we see this game going? I'm going with a 3-1 scoreboard for Shakhtar.
I think Celtic gonna upset them 1-0.
I like that spicy take. I like it.
Spicy like a tamale, baby.
All right. Next up, we got Leipzig, who we were just talking about, taking on Real Madrid. It is at Leipzig. However, it is Real Madrid. Congratulations to Ballon d'Or winner this year, Karim Benzema. Long time in the making, but the guy finally gets the trophy that he long deserved. I'm going with a 1-0 victory for Real Madrid. It is a Leipzig. It is a tougher arena to play, but I don't think Real Madrid will shy away from a victory here. What are your thoughts?
You know, I just like to be different.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Leipzig 2-1. They're at home, celebrating the Ballon d'Or winner and Karim Benzema. I think Leipzig's gonna catch them off guard. I'm gonna go 2-1.
Okay. All right. Should that happen, then the table would look like Real Madrid in first place still, and Leipzig securing that second place. So, just for people to know. Next up, we got Inter Milan taking on Victoria Pilsen. Victoria was really not a lot to do here for the Champions League. They don't really need much at all here. They needed wins long ago and they couldn't get it done. They're here in last place with 0 points. Seems to be one out of about 2 teams actually with 0 points sitting in this Champions League. They're the only ones, along with Rangers, sitting at 0 points in the Champions League. Where do we see this game going? It is an Inter.
4-0 Inter.
I got 2-0 Inter. So both of us taking on Inter winning this week. Club Brugge versus Porto. Brugge showing a lot this year for the Champions League. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe
they've already qualified for the round of 16.
Yeah, they're already sitting clear of the table at first place. Right behind is Porto, though. Porto with a win here would secure their second place. However, it is a Club Brugge. What do we think?
0-0 draw. Both defenses are great. Porto gets the point. Bruges doesn't lose any step. I'm gonna go 0-0.
I like the 0-0 draw, but I like Porto as well here. And the only reason is Porto and Atletico Madrid go a way back in this competition. And with Porto already sitting in second place, I feel like they will need to secure those 3 points, and they will go ahead and do so with Braga really not having much to lose to make sure that Atletico doesn't even stand a chance to secure in the second place. So I'm going 2-1 Porto. We got Frankfurt taking on Marseille. It looks like both teams are pretty much all set. Frankfurt doesn't really stand much of a chance, but Marseille does. What are we thinking here? This guy fell asleep.
What happened?
I like the content. I
Jesus.
like the content. Frankfurt versus Marseille. I got them going at a draw. Marseille's already in second place. Frankfurt's at last. I don't know what you're thinking though.
I'm gonna go Frankfurt. 2-0.
Wow. Okay. I like the upset alert. Big Daddy Bayern Munich taking a little son Barcelona at Bayern at Allianz Arena. I'm going 3-1 Bayern. What are you thinking? 3-0. I like it. Who?
Oh, you know
All right. Bayern. Got it. All right. Moving on. Ajax versus Liverpool. Last time these two faced, Liverpool gave them a shellacking. It is at Ajax though. What do we think?
what's Liverpool looking like in the table in their
Sure.
group at the moment?
Sure. I can give you an update right now. Believe if I'm not mistaken, Liverpool is in fact in second place, trailing behind Napoli by 3 points. With a win, they will secure their second place here, or even a draw. Ajax is looking to be headed to the Europa League after this. So where do we see this game going?
Defensive heavy. I'm gonna go Liverpool 1-1 draw.
Okay. I'm going with Liverpool here, sending a statement victory once again. Securing the second place once and for all, 2-1 Liverpool. Moving on, we got Atletico Madrid taking on Leverkusen. Leverkusen, right now, not looking great for them. They are bottom of the table with only 3 points. Atletico, on the other hand, if they win this game and Porto ties with a goal differential, Atletico could move on to that second place and move on to the next round of the Champions League. What do we think here?
Let it go 2-0.
I like it.
Especially at it with it being at Atletico. I think I'll take them to win that one.
I'm going 3-0 for them. I think they need a goal differential more than anything. But I agree with you. I think this is a win for Atletico. Tottenham Hotspurs taking on Sporting Lisbon. It is at White Lane. Tottenham right now sitting at top of their group. However, the difference is only 1 point. And that 1 point is split between Marseille and Sporting. Sporting could do some damage here and send Tottenham into the second place. I'm going with a 1-0 victory for Tottenham here, but I do think Sporting will play them very, very, very difficult.
I'm going with a 1-1 draw. Just like you said, the Sporting's going to play them difficult. Tottenham's going to get the majority of the game. Sporting comes back in like the 85th to 90th minute with a goal.
Yeah, and I think the problem for Tottenham right now is, number one, their injury list. Richarlison will be out, Kulusevski will be out. And last but not least is keeping their emotions intact. Sporting Lisbon will play them hard and physical, and Tottenham already has a bunch of players with a yellow card that could carry over for a game suspension. So this is a discipline-heavy game for Tottenham. Last but not least, we got Napoli versus Rangers. Napoli basically, with a victory or a draw, moves on to the next round. Rangers basically out of the group, out of everything here. I'm going with 2-0 victory for Napoli, who, by the way, are undefeated in Serie A. This is ridiculous. What are we thinking?
Good things will come to an end. It's just not going to be this week. Napoli 2-0.
I agree. Yep. All right, so that does it for the Champions League. We'll update the records once we crunch our numbers here. We'll post them on Twitter. But moving on, we selected 5 games out of the Europa League with the action happening. This is another essential match day for the Europa League for a lot of teams. So I picked the best 5 based on the groups, the positioning, and the type of game that we will see happening. First and foremost, a quick shout out to Ammonia. Nobody knew what this team was even made of until they faced Manchester and gave them a run for their money. Ammonia's taking on Real Sociedad, who could also be given a run for their money. I'm going with a 1-0 victory for Ammonia. What are you going here with? It is in Cyprus. It is in Cyprus.
Going Sociedad 2-1.
2-1. All right. All right. Moving on, we got PSV taking on Arsenal. I'm going with Arsenal winning 3-1 here. They just look good, man.
1-0 Arsenal.
1-0.
Yeah,
All right.
they looked good until they played Southampton this weekend.
Yeah, I got a funny feeling about that game, but we'll go into that later. HJK versus Roma. Both of these two teams with an opportunity to move on to the next round. Roma sitting at third, HJK at 4. What are we thinking?
I'm taking against Roma 3-0.
I'm going with Roma 2-1. I just hope Roma can get it done, man. I really hope so.
They will.
Lazio versus Midtjylland. At Lazio. I'm thinking Lazio 1-0 here. What are you thinking?
If it's at Midland, I was thinking the Midland, but I'm gonna go Lazio. Same score. I'll go 1-0.
1-0 Lazio. Okay. Last but not least, Manchester United taking on Sheriff. It is at Old Trafford. It is an opportunity for Ronaldo to come back and play, which, by the way, we'll get into that in a few. What are we thinking? I'm going 2-1 United. I don't know what you're going with.
I'm gonna go 2-0.
2-0. Who?
United.
United. Okay. Both of us sitting at 4-5 for our records in the Europa League. We'll update that as well on Thursday once these 5 games are done. Stay tuned. Stay absolutely tuned. Moving on, let's do quickly through Europe before we touch on the Premier League. I think the Premier League has a lot of really good games lined up for this weekend. So let's go real quick. Let's go over to Italy. Once again, Napoli coming up on our radar here. They're taking on Sassuolo. What are you thinking here?
Sassuolo at home is much better than them on the road. I think Napoli's just been a great team so far. If this carries over, I'm gonna go 2-0 them.
2-0 who?
Napoli.
That is creepy. Because as you were saying your prediction, I literally was just saying 2-0 Napoli. I
Love
literally
that.
was just writing that. That is weird. So 2-0 Napoli for the two of us. Okay. Let's go over to España. Villarreal, the new team going in with a new shiny toy in Quique Setién if he gets named as the new coach for Villarreal. They're taking on Atletico Bilbao, and this is a big game for the two of them. Bilbao currently sitting at 6, if I'm not mistaken. Villarreal just only trailing by 3 points. Could this be an opportunity for Villarreal to turn the page, or do they continue to be where they are? I'm going with a 1-0 victory for Villarreal, but it comes costly, in my opinion.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Villarreal. Love a new manager game. Always take the new manager. We'll go 2-1.
I like it. Bundesliga, we just tend to just pick the team as to who we think is gonna win over. We don't predict the score. It's been a tough league for the two of us, same as League One. Actually, no, League One has been the major league for Mr. Jones. I'm going with Bayern this week, taking over Mainz. What are your predictions here?
Fucking hate you.
Same thing?
Same thing.
All right. And last but not least, before we touch base on the Premier League, I got Monaco over Angers Ligue 1. What are you thinking?
I was gonna take Monaco. I'm gonna change it though. I haven't used them in a couple weeks. So I'm gonna use them now. I'm gonna take PSG.
PSG. All right. So that does it for our run around Europe. Let's go back to England where things are getting heating up real quick. The table switching rather quickly, actually. And if you look at the standings, it's creepy just how small of a difference there is between first and fourth place. There's only 7-point difference. Between fifth and 10th place, there's only a 7-point difference as well. Between 11th and 17th place, there is only a 3-point difference. This is a battle of the ages for this Premier League season. And anybody out of the relegation count right now, they're all sitting at 9 points. They all have a chance to stay alive still. United right now sitting at 6. Liverpool sitting at 8th. Right in between them is Fulham. Whoever expected Fulham to be having a great season like they're doing so far right now. Newcastle in 4th place right now. Chelsea in fifth, Tottenham in third, Manchester City only trailing Arsenal by 2 points. Arsenal sitting at 9-1-1 with the best record so far to start out the Premier League in the past 2 years. We got a lot. We got a lot to uncover. So with that said, Jones and I, our records right now, Jones sitting at 55 and 59. I'm sitting at 62 and 52. Heavy week for the two of us right now. What are we thinking? Let's get this conversation going. First and foremost, Leicester City versus Manchester City. I got City, Manchester winning 2-1.
Is that Leicester?
It's at Leicester, but it's a difficult game for sure.
Go 2-0 Manchester City.
2-0. All right. Aston Villa taking on Newcastle. We know Unai Emery turned down the job opportunity at Newcastle. He was not a fan of the project. However, now he's named Villa coach. This is a controversial game. What are you thinking?
That Villa, right?
No, it's actually at St. James Park. It's in Newcastle.
Oh, changes it. 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
If it was at Villa, I would take Villa.
I'm going with the same philosophy as you mentioned for Villarreal. New manager, new opportunities. I think this team needs to lift up. I'm going with a 2-1 victory for Villa here, but I think the draw could also be expected as well. Let's move over to Bournemouth versus Tottenham. It is in Bournemouth. I'm going with Tottenham actually going 4-1 here. They need a good victory here. This is an opportunity for them. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go Tottenham 3-2 actually.
3-2 Tottenham. Okay, I actually like that score.
Bournemouth at home scores fucking crazy ass numbers of goals, so expect that to happen.
Okay, got it. Brighton versus Chelsea. Graham Potter was the previous manager of Brighton. It is at Brighton. It is an opportunity for him to come home. On the other hand, though, it's Chelsea. I'm going with a draw here. I think Brighton will play them very physically, very difficult. What are you thinking?
Going Brighton revenge game. I'm going Brighton 1-0.
Oh. All right. Palace taking on Southampton. I'm going 2-1. I'm going 2-1 Palace. I just can't deny them.
Take the goal off Southampton for mine. I'll do 2-0.
2-0 Palace. I like it. Brentford taking on Wolves. I think Wolves needs a win here. I think they're heading towards that. They're starting to get into the rotation of things with this caretaker in place right now. I'm going with Wolves 1-0.
Where's the game?
It is at Brentford, however. It's at G-Tech Park.
Brentford 2-1.
Brentford 2-1. Brentford. Okay. Fulham versus Everton. It is at Fulham. It is Everton. Everton looking pretty good lately. Going with a 1-1 draw, in my opinion.
2-1 Fulham.
2-1 Fulham. Okay. Could see that. Liverpool taking on Leeds. Last time that Liverpool took on Leeds, it was a 6-0 victory for Liverpool. Where are we going this time?
I'm gonna go only 3-0 this time.
Oh, that was scary. I thought you were gonna say 3-1. I was gonna be like, that's just weird. All right, 3-0 Liverpool. Arsenal taking on Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest getting a very important win against Liverpool. It is Arsenal, however. What are we thinking?
Is it at Arsenal?
It is, it is at the Emirates.
2-0 Arsenal.
I'm going 3-0 Arsenal, in my opinion. Last but not least, Manchester United taking on West Ham. It is at Old Trafford. I'm taking United here with a 1-0 victory, though. Nothing too fancy. I think West Ham will play us very difficult.
I'm gonna go 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Okay. All right. Last but not least, we got to talk about quickly about what's going on at United with the whole Ronaldo situation. We saw over the weekend a few days ago. I'm sorry, not over the weekend, but just a few days ago, we saw he walked out on the team with about 4 or 5 minutes to go left in the game against Tottenham, an important game. Coming to find out after various reports and confirmed by the club manager that Ronaldo had refused to go in as a substitute for during the game, turning into a 1 game suspension for him and going into he's got to practice on his own, and we'll expect him back the following week for the next opportunity. What's your opinion on this? Looking from the outside in, I got my personal opinion, but I know you probably got a different one. I want to hear yours first, though. You're mute.
Better.
Mhm.
I just think it's time to move on for both sides. I mean, I've been on the record saying that this has hurt Manchester United and it's taken them a couple steps back. Just signing him so Manchester City wouldn't. However, I just think, realistically speaking, the comparison was made about Sir Alex Ferguson doing it with Wayne Rooney. I think.
Well, with David Beckham, actually.
Sorry, excuse me. It was David Beckham I meant. Little tired if you can't tell.
No, you good.
But I think Ronaldo's a much bigger name than Beckham was.
Yeah.
But listen, if I'm United, Ten Hag's my manager of the future. I want to put him in a direction to succeed. In order to do that, you need to get this distraction out of the way. And I think that, realistically speaking, we've probably seen Cristiano Ronaldo's last game as a member of the Manchester United Red Devils.
See, I don't think you're wrong. I really don't think you're wrong. I think a lot of people are judging it in 2 ways, right? They're thinking of Ronaldo, the legend for United, and they're thinking of who the hell's Erik ten Hag. He hasn't proven anything in terms of European trophies. Only trophy he's ever won is the Eredivisie out of the Netherlands. But I'm thinking of a different concept. I mean, we've seen this team struggle with high-profile personalities for the past however many years. Mourinho struggled with those personalities. Van Gaal struggled with those personalities. Moyes did as well. We saw, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer struggle with those as well. We saw Michael Carrick in just the 1 game that he was a caretaker go under scrutiny for no absolute reason. It was 1 fucking game. And now Ten Hag, as well as even Rednick. Even Rednick was giving shit about how he managed Ronaldo. And I think it comes down to 2 things. Number one, we gotta, as a fan base, we gotta move on from our legends. There were legends at their time. They're no longer legends at this time. It's a new era. It's a new age, and it's a Premier League. Unfortunately, the Premier League of today's day and age is a complete different Premier League than what it was 10 years ago. It's just not even the same. The second part is this is a team that has like culture, discipline, and a firm hand. And we finally have it in Ten Hag. If you can't believe on the guy, then you know what? Maybe don't turn on the TV every Sunday or every opportunity that Manchester United plays, because he's gonna be there regardless. They trust him, they trust his plan, they trust the process. And to be honest with you, it's worked out. It's worked out. We've seen players start to come to their form. Rashford's back in form. Sancho is serving the purpose that he was signed for. We see Bruno doing the purpose that he is playing for. Sure, his statistics are not the same as when he first came into the team, but his purpose was not the same either. We have a good defense finally, which is something we haven't had for 10 years. It's time to trust the guy. It really is. I'm coming around to trust him. At first, I was also in that fan boat of questioning his techniques because I couldn't understand it. But I agree. It's time for a new culture. It's really time. And I agree with what you're saying. I think it's the best possible solution for this is come the January transfer window, or maybe even earlier, for both parties to just move on from each other. It's no longer about loyalty. It's no longer about the legend that he was, it's United has to go forward in order to continue being that big club that they once were. Because right now, for me personally, I don't consider them a big club because everybody in the Premier League is competitive enough. I don't know what you think. Being a Liverpool fan 10 years ago, right? You would look at the calendar and you would say Liverpool versus Man United. Shit, this is a battle for the ages, right? Now you look at it and you're like, oh, well, fuck, they're down a couple of players. We got a possibility to win.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. I personally think it's time for a new culture. If us fans can't accept that, then we can't beg for Manchester United to continue to be this glorious team that we once were many years ago.
I agree.
So if Ronaldo was to leave today, we saw what happened in the summer transfer window where he had the opportunity to leave. Granted, it was a different time when Ronaldo was playing to standards. He was much better mentally as well. And Ten Hag was hoping for an opportunity for him to be able to train him. So obviously the club trying to convince him to stay. Now we've seen what happens, and we've seen how many clubs deny the opportunity to get Ronaldo, including his childhood team. Where do we see him going?
I think he goes back to Portugal, man.
I can see that, and I think my take that I had a long while back of him retiring at Lisbon is a potential. I think he has the opportunity to go to two different teams, though. One being Dortmund, because they need a striker. And the second one, potentially actually being God, going back to Juventus. Massimiliano Allegri could finally use him.
They don't want him.
But those are the only two teams that I could see him being of somewhat of a purpose. I think it's also painful for him to understand that at the age of 37, he's not performing the same level that he once was.
Right.
So he's got to find that performance level once again. Even Messi's not even performing to his level. Like he's doing good, but it's a French league. Who are you competing against in the French league? Maybe Marseille, maybe Monaco, maybe LOSC. Who are you competing in the French league?
No.
And then they mentioned about Lewandowski. The Spanish league is a slower paced league.
Yeah.
So it's a good fit for Lewandowski. I really don't know where else he could go. I don't know.
Hopefully, maybe off into the sunset on a loan.
Well, I mean
maybe they win the World Cup and he just retires.
I kind of like that take though, and it's not without reach for Portugal. The problem is they're emotional,
right?
Extremely emotional team. But with that said, I mean, we'll have to watch what happens here this week for Manchester United with Ronaldo. I will say this as last though, it's a shitty feeling when you know that your team just played a really good fucking tactical game against a very well coached team in Tottenham. Uh-huh. And unfortunately, the spotlight still turns into Ronaldo walked out on United. I felt bad for all those players because they put on a hell of a performance. I was actually proud of United.
That takes a lot for you.
Yeah. It's like if like for Liverpool, for example, they had a great win not too long ago. And what if Van Dijk walks out on Liverpool? What if Salah walks out on Liverpool? Then what the fuck do you do? So, anyways, that does it for episode 101. Find us on Spotify, find us on Twitter, find us on Google Podcasts. Whatever you listen to, make sure that you find us there. Make sure that you're following us, subscribe to all of our information. We're on YouTube as well. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. But with that said, episode 101 ends here. Jones, as always. Jones, thank you very much for everything you do for us. There you go, DJ signing off. We'll see you guys for episode 102 next week.